G'day everyone, welcome along to the 2020 Tokyo Olympic edition of ECITV. We're back to you on Skype again, as we were for many of our episodes. We've got Shane, we're bringing Michael in from, where is Michael at the moment?
Belgium.
In Belgium, so we're bringing Michael in, so that's why we're on Skype. So stay tuned for a very interesting show covering the Olympics. Cheers.
See you soon. G'day, he's Gary.
And he's Shane.
And you're watching ECITV.
You certainly are. Enjoy.
All right, so we're going to jump straight into it. We've got an Olympic discussion, and who better to discuss this stuff with us than Michael Byers, since Gary never looks at links or watches videos. So we're going to go straight into what's been quite a discussion over the past week, or maybe a little bit more, was Twan Van Gendt's geared bike. Now, Michael, you've been doing a bit of riding with Twan. Did you actually see him on that bike?
Yes, I guess the first thing was the carbon Mabo. That was the first thing they kind of released, and he was testing. And to my understanding, the team's been testing the gear. I think there's 5 or 6 of them that have been testing the gear for over 12 months now. So they've been testing it, trialing it, sprints, gates, etc. And they still have been right up until last week, I guess. So yeah, it's been tested a lot, and I think some of the comments online saying, "Oh, it's not going to work," I don't think anyone's dumb enough to chuck it on just for the Olympics without testing it. So
yeah,
100%, yeah, definitely.
I had never seen it on the carbon bike, actually, just because they've been doing all the testing on the normal alloy Mabo frames. Now he's got it on the carbon, so it's good to see. I like it.
I like the idea of it. Are there anything new like that and interesting? Fantastic for the sport.
Well, that's the thing. People are saying it's not new because of Barry did it, but it's kind of new for right now. Like, the sport's obviously always evolving, and it's new in this sort of era. So I think it's cool, and whether it works or not, it's something new and it's something different.
It's new, like disc brake, that's come and gone over the years, and now it's here to stay. And gears is the same. Gary actually put up some old profile gear where they used to have a geared system, which we'll look at in a bit. Oh, well, there you go. There's a gear hanger, a derailleur hanger. So they have been around before, but yeah, to see it in the modern era, in the Olympic era, and probably a more refined system. Who knows that this isn't going to be the next disc brake.
Yeah.
If you were going to... So go ahead.
Okay.
No, you go.
Oh, I just think people, like, obviously when he released it, it was quite funny to read all the comments and everything online and the discussion it created. But I think people were assuming he's going to change third pedal or halfway down the ramp, where I don't think that's the intention. It's obviously 1 tooth down on the back, which is a huge gear change. If people sort of don't understand, it's quite a big gear change. You wouldn't start on that gear. And Twan typically runs a big gear anyway, so it's probably going to be, I don't think he knows where he's going to do it, but it's going to be probably down the first straight or into the first corner, somewhere where he's got some time and can change up and then accelerate out of the first corner and out of the second corner, because Tokyo's track, it's got no fall, where typically the Supercross track would have probably a metre a straight of fall to help the momentum. So Tokyo's got none, where it probably relies more on your pedaling speed. So I think maybe a big gear might help. But yeah.
Surely after 12 months of trials with it, he'd have a fairly good understanding of where he's going to change gear.
Yeah, I guess Tokyo's a completely different track, though. Somewhere like Papendal, first straight's way faster than Tokyo. Second straight's completely different. So I feel like he'll have to judge off where feels good. So, for example, the second jump at Tokyo is quite gnarly. Like, it's real small, real steep, quite easy to overshoot. So say he's been changing on the first jump at Papendal, and at his house, his house is actually pretty similar to Tokyo, but then into Tokyo it might change. He might feel like he's going too fast into the second. I don't know, to be honest, but yeah. And I guess one of the things that I've thought of is in BMX we have so much going on, to have to flick a lever midway through a lap, but then includes 7 other guys banging bars, that would be quite hard. And I guess I don't want to say it won't be at the same place every lap. If he does do it, it might change. Like he might miss it on the second jump and have to do it in the first corner, or yeah, who knows. But I don't think he has that in his brain. I don't think he's saying that I'm going to do it on this jump, or I think he's going to wing it. Do some testing over there, not wing it.
I think they've got a couple of days of practice, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got 6 hours of practice, so that's quite a lot. And I know with his coach that they do a lot of like dart fishing, which is where you overlay videos. You can see where you're fast, where you're slow. So they'll definitely figure out if it's good or not. And yeah, I think people doubting them, it's kind of silly.
So you've ridden there. What kind of corners does it have? You know, if he was going to be on a real heavy gear going into that first corner, is it going to be like a Shepparton where he's going to risk washing out or even losing a little bit of speed?
No, the corners in Tokyo are really good. I think that's one of the cool things we will see, especially with the second straight. There's no pro straight. It's just one straight for the boys and the girls. So in my opinion, that's cool. You can come out of the first corner. You don't have to stick to one side, where usually that creates a bit of people a little bit scared to do moves because they know that they'll end up on the wrong side and they might get pushed off the track for the girls onto the pro straight. For the guys, they might get shut off. Where this corner, it sort of creates a lot of overtaking because it's so big, steep, and then you don't have to be scared about choosing side down the second straight. And then also the jump, you don't have to jump the second straight, so you can manual them. Where normally, if it is a jumping second straight, you do worry about your speed. So maybe that won't be in their heads either, because you can manual them. So no, the corners in Tokyo I think are really good. The second corner is maybe a bit long, so you won't see too many overtakes there. But the first and the last corner, I think you'll see a lot of overtaking, which is exciting. That's what we want to see at the Olympics. We don't want to see Indian file racing.
Do you think there'll be much berm banging through those corners? Lots of collisions and things to look out for?
I think with it being the Olympics, yeah. I think everyone's going to have a similar mindset of it's the Olympics. Let's leave it on the track. And saying that, I think there's a few experienced riders now. This sort of generation of Olympians are probably more experienced than in the past, like the likes of Sylvain, Twan, Joris. I mean, Nick's young, but he's very experienced. So maybe they won't be so stupid on day one, maybe even day two, and leave it in for the final. Typically in Olympic final, there hasn't been many crashes. I know in the Beijing final, there was a crash in the second corner with Graves and Sofiso, but typically everyone stays on their bike in the final. It's normally the day one and day two, or the semi, that have the crashes. I don't know. I had a thought the other day, maybe there's going to be a crash in the final, which you don't want to see at the Olympics. You want to see a clean race and the best rider wins. But again, typically that hasn't happened. The person who wins all day hasn't won the final. So.
All right. Well, let's call that the end of the geared bike conversation and start moving into gold medal predictions. Let's start with you, Gary. Have you got any predictions for gold medals?
I haven't sat down and really concentrated on it a great deal, apart from getting excited about it. It's look, I believe Joris is going to be way up there, simply because of his track record at the moment. He's just killing it everywhere. Apart from that, I haven't really. It's just such an open field, of course, so anything can happen. So, yeah, I'm probably not the good person to try and get into the nitty-gritty of it. I just think Joris is going to rate well. Love to see Anthony, obviously, up there, and I believe he's probably riding good enough to be, in the final, whether he podiums or not. So that's about it from me. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, Joris is one of my favourite races, but again, he hasn't raced a proper World Cup. Well, I mean, he raced in Colombia, but it wasn't a full depth World Cup. It was quite small, to be honest. So he hasn't raced the proper World Cup, so to speak, since 2019's Older Worlds, where he crashed in the final. And like, for me, he is one of the best racers, all-round races. He's got a good first straight, got a good gait, got a good head on him, good track speed. But yeah, I don't know. That's something that creeps in my mind when I'm thinking about it. If he's got that race experience of maybe if he doesn't whole shot, can he come from third or fourth? My brain tells me yes, but there's also a little bit of doubt creeping in about the race experience, especially when all the other guys have been racing Verona, the Euro rounds and everything else. So he actually trains by himself as well most of the time, which probably doesn't help that cause. But in saying that, I think I'm going to go with Joris on the podium. Sylvain Andre, probably not off raw speed, but I'm going to put him on the podium just because he's so experienced, he's so consistent. He's probably one person I would guarantee being on the podium if I had to. Whether it's first, second, or third, I don't know. Probably second or third. And then first, like I said, the fastest person doesn't always win, but I'm going to go with Neek or I hope Graf. That's probably I would hope that Graf wins, but I'm going to say if Neek can turn the switch on, which again, there's so many things that play into this one, because I mean, Connor has a really good chance to win. But because COVID's happened, we haven't had the normal build-up. We haven't got to see them race week in, week out the year of Olympics, so we haven't actually got a gauge where someone like Connor, he's kind of been away doing his own thing, which I know he'll be fast, but he hasn't been racing, so we can't compare. Joris has been out. Dean's been doing his own thing in Australia, and the track sort of suits Anthony down the first straight. So it's hard. And then, I mean, someone like Neek, he's been racing for the last 6 months, I guess, knowing he's going to the Olympics, knowing that's the only race he hasn't won. So he hasn't been risking it, and I can tell by the way he's racing, he's just playing it safe. And to be honest, I think we'd all do the same thing. But then you'd be stupid to write Neek off. He's won the most races in history, I think, in our sport. We do have the double weekend World Cups now, but he's won the most World Cups by far. So yeah. And then if you want to get technical, Romain Mailloux won the Olympic test event 2 years ago, but he hasn't been on great form, I guess, coming into it. But if he won the test event, you've got to give him a shout. But no, I think my podium is going to go Neek, Joris, Sylvain. And then for the woman, Graf will be my outsider. But it's I can tell you now, it's not going to go like that. It's going to be it's going to be something else. And for the woman, I think the same thing. Like Alise hasn't been racing due to COVID, but I think that she's going to be too strong, and I can see her winning. And for second, I think it's going to be between someone like Zoe Claessens. That track's so long. The third straight's quite technical. The second straight's quite technical for the girls. I think Zoe's going to sort of come from, I don't know, third or fourth to get second. I mean, she could actually win with how technical she is. So I'm going to go with Zoe on the podium as well. And then third is going to be, I think, Laura Smulders. Again, she's so experienced, and she has been racing. She has been getting some podiums in Verona and stuff. So I'm going to go with Laura Smulders for third. So not huge upsets. I think Saya could, but it's similar with Joris. Like, she hasn't been racing. She hasn't been training with girls. Not to say that she won't be going fast, but it's just going to come down, I think, in the final. It's going to be who's got the most experience, who's confident, who's been in that situation the most lately. Not necessarily Olympic finals, but just finals. And yeah, like I said, at Olympics, it's just one race decides this huge medal, which is why we love the sport, I guess, but it's so hard to predict. I think if someone could predict all 6 people, that'd be a freak.
That's pretty much the good thing about our sport, though, isn't it? It's just so unpredictable, and there's so many factors that you just can't train for. Like, there's a little bit of luck in there that it can go anyone's way. You just clip somebody's handlebar and you're out of the race, sort of thing, and you could be the strongest guy or woman on the track at the time. So yeah, I think that's part of the excitement, really, isn't it?
Yeah, me too. Kai told me once, he said when he's sitting on the gate, the things that go through his head, I think I was talking to him about what his mindset is on the gate. Like, is he thinking about he's going to cut the guy off next to him, or he knows he's going to whole shot and win? But he said, no, I kind of just think on the gate. He's like, in 30, 40 seconds, I'm either going to be really happy or really sad. And that was his mindset. Like,
as simple as that.
He knew that it could go either way. I think he believed that he could win, but he knew that he may not win as well. Like, that's a possibility of our sport, where I think if you're Usain Bolt, you get on the start gate knowing that you sort of have to win. There's nothing that could stop him from winning if he does a normal race. Where in BMX, you could race your perfect race and get last.
So I had a couple that I've written down. So my predictions were Alise for the win. Despite what you're saying about Saya not having raced, I reckon she's got the track speed and the track will suit her. And I got Laura Smulders for third, so very similar to your selection. Sorry, Zoe.
I'll just jump in there. Saya did win the test event, so I think she has got a outside chance to do really well. But just my instinct is saying those other girls. But yeah. So who was yours? Alise,
and then Saya, and then Laura Smulders.
Oh, so we have first and third the same.
Yeah.
Straight to sports bet.
I'm not putting any money on this event. There's no way.
Yeah.
And I've got Twan for first in the men's, Joris, and then Anthony Dean. It's going to be a real sprinters race, I think. And these guys are probably the best of the best. So, but like you said, it could go anyway. It's all just guesswork. I
think Connor's got a really good chance to win two as well. I know I didn't include him, but I think he's got a good chance. He's probably the second most all-round rider to Joris, so I think he has got a good chance.
I'd like to see David Graff get in there, but I just don't know. I don't know if he'd have the leg speed for that first straight. Yeah,
I've heard a rumor as well that not from him, that he's had a crash in Stuttgart recently as well, so he's running with a broken tendon in his finger or something.
Oh wow!
I've heard that he's made an adjustment on his bike to sort of, he can't bend his finger, so to hold his finger at a certain place. So that hopefully it's 100%, and hopefully it's not going to hinder him because it's his last race.
Not the outside finger, so he's having a cup of tea around the track or anything.
I've got no idea what finger or anything, to be honest.
All right, so that's it for the predictions. The Olympic schedule, for those people that don't know, is Thursday the 29th and Friday the 30th. So the Thursday the 29th, they got 3 quarterfinal heats. So I think
six people per quarter. So you'll race the same people, the same 6 boys or girls 3 times, and then the overall top 4 go through to the semis, where they do another 3 the next day. And then
So, did you want to hold that closer to the screen, Gary?
I just tried to, but then it
disappears.
It disappears. So we'll have to put that up on the screen, I think. So that's
no worries. We can do
that's all the actual time slots for all the heats and everything.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously that schedule's up on Ultra as well, and it's got all the different time slots for different major cities around the world.
There you go.
And then it's the semis, which will be 8-man or 8 women semis on the Friday. So there's 3 heats of that as well, and then it's just a dead man final, which is after 3 heats for your quarters, 3 heats for your semis, then just to do a one and done kind of final. It just doesn't make sense, really, does it?
Well, I think with the 3 quarters and the 3 semis, it really does make the best people get into the final.
Yeah.
But the BMX that we're used to, it's not like that. It's kind of just dead man every race, dead man quarter, dead man semi. So I'm glad they do have the final a dead man, I think, just because it still has that unpredictability and if you win it, you're the champ. But I think it's cool how they have the 3 quarters and 3 semis just to get the best people into the final, and then one final. But I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
So is that going to be late for you? No. Yeah, it will be, won't it?
No, I think it's because we're 7 hours behind Tokyo, so I think it's 7 a.m. I think it starts. Okay. I think.
I have to look at my own schedule to figure that one out. I think we're only an hour behind, so it's worked really well for us.
Only 1 hour, yeah.
Oh, that is perfect.
Yeah, it's ideal.
And here in Australia, the coverage. Sorry, go ahead.
The road race is on right now, actually. So
I had been watching it until we started recording.
Yeah.
How's it going?
I don't know. You've been watching it, not me.
Oh, I can't watch it now. I don't want to stop to watch it in the middle of the show, like Gary's doing right now.
Sure. I was just trying to give you some results.
Nah, it's all right. People can check that out. In
Yeah.
Australia, it's covered by 7plus. Gary and I were talking about the app a little bit earlier. You can schedule your
Ideal.
events, so it sets up reminders and do all sorts of things. You can watch it on the TV, on your phone, on your computer, so it's quite mobile.
It's always been a difficult thing in previous Olympics, trying to get coverage of those sort of shoulder sports. But now it seems like with 7 Mate, you just get full coverage of any sport you like. So,
how are you going to be
7 Mate.
watching it this time? Yeah, that's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
7 Mate.
That's so Australian.
There's about 5 different channel
There's
7s.
the same in New Zealand. It's called 7 Bro or something, isn't it?
No.
How are you going to be watching it, Michael? Is it a TV thing for you, or are you just going to live stream it?
Yeah, I'm still unsure where I'll be, to be honest, but I'm staying here with the BMX, so we'll figure it out somehow. I'd say it will be on Eurosport or on the TV somehow, some way. I'm not sure, but we might go to someone else's house and all together watch it. They're obviously rooting for Twan as he's their teammate. So am I. I'm really hoping Twan does pull through and get a medal, but yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know how we'll watch it. It's so
you,
hard to.
I'll be glued to it on 7 Mate.
So you're going to shut down. You're going to shut down ECI for a couple of hours for lunch.
Well, yeah, we've got TVs in the workshop as well as in the office, so yeah, we'll still be able to work, but there'll be pauses during the day. So if anyone's ringing and the phones just ring out, just check the schedule. and ring back.
What time does it? So what time in Tokyo does it start?
8:45. Oh, well, the on the Thursday 8:45 from the through to midday.
And you're an hour behind. So it starts at 7, mate.
7, mate.
7:45, mate.
We're an hour.
7:45, mate. We so it's 9:45, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
There won't be much work getting done here, I can imagine.
What's new?
Just a normal day then.
Yeah, just normal day.
So on the Olympic theme, I actually put together a bit of number crunching during the week and come up with an article which does a breakdown on the number of riders per country, the frames that people are using, number of different forks that people are using, and then it does an alloy versus carbon comparison. Have you actually had a look at that one yet, Gary?
I certainly have. Went through it in depth, and I did. And I actually mentioned one thing I'd be interested in, but that's only personally, is what tyres they're running. But apart from that, I didn't realise the work that went in to compile that list. Even Michael would know this because I was talking to Shane about it earlier, but it took him like 2 weeks going through everyone's posted bikes online through their Instagram pages and everything to actually sit down and list it all himself. So there was nowhere you could get that information from apart from Shane spending 2 weeks trying to compile it. So
it was actually two days actually, but I did have to get help.
I was talking you up.
I reached out to Michael and he helped me out with I can't remember who it was, someone's forks that looked a bit difficult to pick.
So doing something like that, even though it's just something that people think, oh yeah, it's just another list, there's a fair bit of work goes into it. So, but yeah, it's a very detailed list. It's always good to see.
To answer your question, no, I haven't. Sorry. To answer your question, Gary, I'd say most people would be on Tioga tyres.
100%.
The majority.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it.
Twan's on Speed Booster Elites, and that's sort of what brought my attention to it. Yeah, V's. Yeah.
V tyre. Yeah, they're sponsored. I think they've actually created a tyre for Twan, like Twan's done some developing for them, and he's created his own tyre type thing. I think a couple riders might be on the IRC
Siren.
just because of Sam. I don't know what Anthony's on. And then I'd say maybe, I heard rumors that the French were developing a tyre because the ramp in Tokyo is made of something different than most Supercross ramps.
Okay.
It's almost like that ProGate gritty stuff, but the whole ramp is it. So I heard the French were developing a tyre. It hasn't come out yet.
Oh,
So
that wasn't the Michelin tyre.
Maybe. They didn't really say. I just heard rumors that they were taking samples of the hill 2 years ago and they're going to make a tyre. That they were going to create a tyre just because it rolls a little bit slower. But yeah, I don't know if they've done that. But yeah, that was the other thing. Michelin will have a few riders there, I'd say, as well. Not many Maxxis anymore.
No, it doesn't seem
No,
like
I've noticed that. So we looked at frames specifically and forks. So in the top 3 frames, there was... Sorry, go ahead.
Keep going. You're right.
The top 3 frames is Mabo with 8 riders, and that's not surprising given the Dutch are all on Mabo, and there's 6 of them. So we got Weirwis at 6 and Chase at 5. And with the forks, it was Answer at 11. So no surprise that Answer daggers are so popular since Answer's been around for so long. Then Box at 9 and Avian at 7. And I found Avian being at 7 was a bit of surprise just because they've only been really on the market for, I guess it's an Olympic cycle now, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah. I guess the thing with forks, most people that ride a bike that have a fork just rides their forks. Like Mabo, most people ride a super duper fork, which is a Mabo sort of component. Same with Prophecy. I'm trying to think of some other bikes right now. But yeah, it's kind of depending on what bike you ride. So what people ride Avian? I guess
so Corbin Sherrar had Avian. Simon Marquardt had Avian.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Lindbergh, but he was on a Speedco, like you said. Taurus Navrastad, who was on Avian, but he's also on Speedco. I got Yoshi, even though he's on a Weirwis, he's got Avian, and Say as well. She's on Weirwis and she's running Avian. I found that an interesting mix that both of them had the same frame and fork setup.
Same as Simon Marquardt, which they're all from the UCI Centre, and they had a lot of problems with the Weirwis fork, like the glue would come undone.
Oh god!
And they would feel a click, and then I think that was the glue coming undone, and the next one they'd sort of pull their forks off, and obviously don't want that.
No, I saw
Alfredo
Campo. Yeah, I saw Alfredo Campo also had Avian, but he was on his Yes.
Yeah. So it's a long-looking bike, isn't it? His bike.
Yeah. Is he really tall?
Yeah, ridiculous tall. The thing about him, I don't know how tall he is, but he'd be 6'4". Like, he's huge, and on the gate, I think he can't hear out of one ear. And on the gate, he shakes like crazy. Like, he wraps his wrists around and he tenses and he's just shaking. And if you're next to him, the whole gate's going to move. He's fast enough as is, but then he starts putting you off like that, and then you can't beat him.
One of the other things that surprised me, because I looked at carbon versus alloy frames, is that only 18 of the 48 frames were carbon. So there's a lot of riders there. Sorry?
Is that including Twan?
So I counted Twan as a carbon, even though he potentially could be riding alloy. But yeah, so still quite a low number in comparison to alloy.
Very low. Yeah, very low.
Yeah, but I don't think a carbon's ever won. That was just a random thing I just said then, but I don't think a carbon bike's ever won the Olympics.
Yeah, I don't think it has either.
Well, there was Maris, he never had a carbon.
No.
He does now. And then Connor, and then Mariana.
Connor is the only potential one that was on a carbon. I think their carbon frames
were
out before the last one. Wasn't it?
Really?
Gary? No?
No, it wouldn't be 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, maybe they were, and I remember Joris didn't actually ride one at first because they were having some problems. But I don't think it was 5 years ago. I think they were still on the alloy. So
okay.
Yeah, carbon bikes never won the Olympics. Will that change?
There's an interesting stat, isn't it?
And I think I heard on Coffee Chatter they were saying no one's ever won from lane 1, but then he quickly took that back because I think Stromberg's won 2012 from lane 1. But I think Connor was in 6. The other year Stromberg's was in 6. and I don't know for the woman. But I tried to find like a complete replay of Rio, and I couldn't even find like a full replay. I could only watch the final.
I think I've got a full replay from there. I'll see if I can find the link and shoot it to you. All right, so that's it for that number crunching. Did you watch the video from ODI, Building a Champion with Alise Willoughby? Did you see that one, Michael?
No.
So it's just
pretty good.
like a 2 or 3 minute thing, so it fits in Gary's wheelhouse. He loves a 2 or 3 minute video. And it just tells a little bit of a backstory and how she's become a champion. Now, talking about Alise, I did hear that Alise and Sam are moving back to Australia after the Olympics. Which is pretty big news, and it kind of makes you wonder what's going on there, whether Alise is going to retire. Still seems like too early days, but maybe she's won enough to sort of settle down. Maybe it's time to have a family or something. I don't know the story there. You hadn't heard anything about that, Michael?
No, I haven't heard anything. It makes sense with the Sam track going in Adelaide. I think he'd like something to do with it. I think I don't know him that well, unfortunately, but I think that he enjoys the coaching, and maybe he'll want to carry on and create some Australian superstars instead of building up all the Americans.
Yeah. So yeah, talking about retirements, we've noticed quite a few of them over the past few months. We're talking about them earlier. So there's Caroline Buchanan, who's probably the most recent. Stephany Hernandez, she was silver medalist at Rio. Bronze. Merle Van Benthem was one of the more recent ones as well. And Nadja Pries, who you told me she qualified for Germany quite a while ago and decided not to go ahead and race the Olympics again. So what do you think about these retirements? They're all very young. I guess Caroline's probably the oldest amongst them. She was about 30, and you couldn't expect her to be doing another Olympic cycle. But the others looked like they probably had enough in them to potentially do another Olympic cycle. What do you think it is that makes people drop out like they do?
Well, I think because our sport these days is so orientated around the Olympics, everyone makes their decisions, I guess, around if they've got another cycle in them. So, I mean, some people are retiring and they might keep riding, but not at the level they were, so national team level. And yeah, everything around the national team, the programs is all Olympic orientated. So I guess I'll have conversations saying, are you going to go to Paris Olympics? And I'll just have to have a look in the mirror and say, well, these young people coming through, young boys, girls that are going to be faster than me in a year or already are. So then they've just got to sort of make that decision. And the Olympic period, I guess Caroline gave it a crack and didn't quite get it, unfortunately. So I guess that was the decision made for her. I guess the Olympics is like a make or break thing. If you don't get in, then that's an easy way to say, I'm retiring. And I guess if you go and do well, I've heard a lot of people are retiring after Tokyo.
I'm not surprised. I was looking through the list, and there's quite a few older riders, like David Graff, I think he's 31. And then there's a whole bunch of riders that aren't far behind him. Who else was there?
Well, like that whole, that's what I was saying. Like this generation for Olympics is quite experienced. Like Joris, he's probably 29, 28. Sylvain, similar age. Twan, Graf, Campo, he's 28. Which, I mean, it's not old. He's still probably got another cycle to go to 31. But yeah, it's just whether you want to. Someone like, is this Connor's third Olympics? It is.
Yeah, it is.
Connor's third Olympics. So, I mean, if he does well and gets a medal, then what else is there to do for him? It depends why you're in the sport. And that's, I guess, what we come back to all the time is why you're doing BMX. If it's just for the Olympics, then, yeah, makes sense.
So Lauren Reynolds was another one on that list of older riders. I don't know, do you expect to see her continue on and continue racing in the States, you know, especially if Alise comes back to Australia and she doesn't seem to have that sort of buddy system set up anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if she did decide to stop. She's been around for like forever, and she's still not that old. Like, she's only 28 or 29, isn't she?
Yeah, I think so.
She's not that old, but she's been on the scene like as long as I remember. I remember being like a little kid looking up to Lauren. So That's cool. So I'm not sure. She could definitely go another cycle. She's probably getting faster with age as well. It's probably the fastest I've ever seen her now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure she could go another 3 years. That's the thing. 3 years isn't so long. 4 years seems a lot longer.
Yeah.
Olympic qualifying starts in a year.
Yeah. Two more names that pop into my mind is Mariana Pajon and her husband Vincent Paluard. They're both getting close to 30 as well. But like you said, it's only 3 years, so who knows?
Yeah, I would say Vincent will be done. This is his first ever Olympics.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Well, he's been at France, obviously, and that's not easy to qualify for France. Not saying Colombia is either, to be honest. This is his first Olympics, and yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he sort of retired. And man, it would be so cool to see Mariana go for 3.
Yeah.
Then we both left her out of our predictions, didn't we?
I know it's hard. You can only fit 3 names in the podium, and she was definitely one that I wanted.
That would be my, like, if I could pick someone to win, it would be her, just because it would be so cool. But yeah, who knows? She's in good shape, to be honest. So I'm kind of stupid leaving her out of my predictions, but there's lots of people you can't pick. I think there's probably 6 or 7 girls that could medal, maybe more. And for the men, there's probably 12 or 13 guys that could medal. So it's crazy.
Manon Valentino, she's another one that must be reaching 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's quite a few. It should be a big change in the landscape after these Olympics, I'd say.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of coaching dynamics are changing straight after Olympics as well. So I think there'll be a big change, and the new generation can come on for Paris. But I've heard a few people are retiring after Olympics, but I'll let them announce it themselves, I guess.
There's one I missed. Early retirement from Olympic competition with Brooke Crain. I forgot about that one.
True. I think she actually, well, again, I don't know the nitty gritty behind that, but I actually think she had a pretty good chance of getting that 3rd spot for America, and then Peyton Ridenhour sort of came on the scene quite late. She went to Verona, got 4th, that's a big result. I think she's first year elite or second year elite, and then went to Bogota and got 2nd behind Mariana. So she kind of cemented her spot for the team. But I think before she sort of came on and got those results, I think Brooke was kind of the obvious choice for that 3rd spot. So, but she announced that quite a long time ago, didn't she? That she was, yeah. But by the sounds of it, she's just not. She just said that she wasn't sort of ready to risk it all on the 8 meter, and she's done it for so long. Like was she at Beijing as a alternative, or was it London? London. Yeah, she's not that old. She was at London as the alternative, and then she got the late call up because Ariel Martin crashed, and
crashed in practice.
And then she went to Rio, obviously. So she's done 2 Olympics.
Yeah. All right, well, enough of that. I think we've got a conversation piece here for Gary because he's been a bit quiet. So has the Olympics has an effect on sales in the industry at all?
Oh, we haven't noticed it here. It's, I suppose what's affecting us more than anything is the whole COVID side of things, because we're back in lockdown here, and so was half of Australia. And it always seems to have that bit of a knock-on effect where people just sort of sit on their wallets a little bit. So if anything, it's probably quietened off for us business-wise at the moment. But Olympics generally don't have a great deal of increase or decrease in sales. It's more post-Olympics. Depending on who wins and everything, all of a sudden that's the new bike, the new frame, the new forks, the new 2-speed hub. It's that's what has the effect more than anything. So. No, post-Olympics is where we see all the inquiries coming in and all the new bike builds and everything else. So at the moment, business is just ticking along as normal. It's just unfortunate that we're all in lockdown at the moment again. So
it's probably
better get some GWs in stock then.
Yeah.
It's probably unfortunate that you're not going to have a lot of frame stock for a little while too. People are going to come out of the Olympics all hyped and want to buy a frame, and because of supply issues over the past 12, 18 months, it's going to be difficult to actually source something.
Yeah, well, as we've spoken about a few times, it's the supply chain is horrific at the moment, and there's still massive delays. 12 months, 2 years on certain products. So it just is what it is. It's not like it used to be, where someone would rate pretty well on a product and you could access it within a few months. Now it's 3 years. So by then the effect's gone. But anyway, it is what it is. So.
While we're talking about bikes and stuff, who is your favorite bike customization paint job
Oh, the paint job.
Paint job.
for the Olympics? I didn't word that very well, but sort of bike and helmet. Who's sort of caught your eye?
I like Connor's helmet. Connor's
Yeah.
helmet's come out awesome. That's a real standout. Bike-wise, not too sure. What do you reckon, Shane?
I don't know. The one that keeps popping into mind, even though it's not like super fancy, is David Graff's. I really like the red, and he's got some kind of texture through it as well.
Yeah.
And I haven't worked out what all those years are in his chainstay. I wonder what they mean. Have you looked at that?
Like 1930 or something, isn't it? Like it's
There's
quite.
one that was 63, so I'm not sure how that's relevant. But
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's some birthdays for his family. I got no idea.
some
But I'm
homework
the
for you,
same.
Michael.
Yeah, he's got, like you said, a simple bike, but I actually really like it. He's got my favorite, and to be honest, I'm not saying it because I ride a Prophecy, but Prophecy have done a really good job of all their bikes. Bethany Shriver's one's quite nice.
Yeah.
The Italian boy Fantoni, his is really nice. Am I forgetting someone on the Prophecy?
I've got a list here if you want to.
The Thailand girl. She's done a really nice job of her bike as well. So
Sky, is that her name?
Yeah. The Prophecy ones are quite nice, but then Connor's helmets really stand out, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
Lauren's got a nice Troy Lee custom job on her.
Yeah, I really like Lauren's helmet. I don't know. I don't know whether it's because of what's always happened, but with the Olympics, I like to see people do sort of their nationality colours. Where Lauren's sick, and I guess she lives in America, so the palms and all that kind of represents where she's living, where she's from in America. So that's cool. But then like Kai White's bike is just completely, I don't know. I don't know what it means. Like a purple panther or whatever it is. But
It's an interesting paint job, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else to talk about as far as the Olympics go. Anything you wanted to add, Michael?
Oh, I don't think so. No.
What about you, Gary?
No, I don't think so. Just excited about the whole prospect of being able to watch it. So.
Maybe just till the kids stop messaging me asking why I'm not going to the Olympics.
Well, that should stop next week anyway.
No, I'm kidding. I enjoy it.
All right, so we've got a little bit of news before we head off. We don't have the show and tell that we'd normally have, and we're not going to be talking about other events because this is our Olympic special. So just quickly, we did a bike check on Ryan Whitling's Stay Strong last week.
Yep.
Last fortnight. So I don't know if you had... Yeah.
I thought it was on the S squared. No?
Ryan Whitling. He rides
I know who
for...
it is.
All right.
Oh. Is it a red
on wine colour. Wine colour with gold and chrome.
So you haven't seen that one?
I have seen it. He put up a video doing sprints like the other day, yesterday or something.
All right. Yeah. I think he was doing manuals and sprints. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's on a Stay Strong. Yeah.
Okay.
Go on, colourblind, Michael.
I actually am colourblind, but anyway, sorry about that. Carry on, stay strong.
All right, so that's up on ECI Imports YouTube channel, but also over at bmxultra.com. We'll provide the link. And talking about Ultra, we've done a couple of reviews. Paul Knox did a review on the Alienation foothold pedals, which is just a platform plastic pedal, but a pretty high-end pedal, and he was very impressed with them. And also the IRC Siren Pro tubeless tyres. Have you had a chance to look at either of those, Michael?
No, but I think I do have some of the tyres at home waiting for me.
Oh, nice.
Good.
The platform pedals I haven't had a look at. The tyres look good though.
Yeah, they seem pretty good. I've had them on my bike for a good probably 3 months, and took them to a club race. They were fine for the first event straight off the gate. I didn't actually give them a chance to wear in. You know how sometimes a new tyre is pretty slippery. These were pretty good straight off the bat. And then we raced at Sydney at the what was it? The
Yeah,
Oz
national
Cycling National Series, and they were just fine. Really tight bitumen turns and pretty low hills, so accelerating and everything felt great. And then I thought, well, we haven't done anything on the slippery surface. And then we went to a pump track, which was mostly jumps on our way home, and it was quite wet, and they were pretty good in the wet too. So I was surprised with how grippy they were actually.
And at
so
your
yeah.
house?
I haven't been able to ride my joint. It's the wrong time of year. It's like riding on ice. So it wouldn't matter what tyres you had on, they'd be way too slippery. Even a fat bike would struggle, I think. What else have we got here? BSX 2022, we've been getting fired up early with this one. Hopefully we'll get you over for it, Michael, if that bubble can stay open between Australia and New Zealand. So we've got a new poster out, and we're using a photo that was supplied by Live, Breathe, Ride, who are a new silver partner of ours. So thank you to Gorak, who some people might know as the Ninja Warrior. What does he call himself? Monkey Steve.
Monkey Steve.
Monkey Steve. So yeah, thanks very much, Steve, for your help and support there. And we've got lots more news to come out soon on the whole BSX 2022 thing. So I definitely need to get you over here, Michael. I reckon we need to set up a challenge, get an Aussie rider and send you off head to head.
When you said it's going to be fired up, is that a pun or hopefully not?
Oh, hopefully not. I'm happy if it's
You
warm.
don't say that. You don't say that where you live.
No. Although it's extremes. Tomorrow we're expecting snow, so it's quite a big difference to it than to the fire season.
But yeah, it sounds good. Set me up with a Australian.
Right.
I'll have to text Josh Callan and get him back on a bike because I'm pretty sure he was pretty good at BSX, wasn't he?
Yeah, he probably won more than anybody else here.
Yeah. I don't think I ever got a chance to beat him, so I'll get him back on a bike and see if I can beat him.
Give him plenty of notice so he won't have an excuse.
No, I'll give him a week.
All right, that's it for news. That's all I've got. What about you, Gary? Got anything else to add?
No, that's about it. It's you did have another one there for Bobby Bike. Has some new material out.
Did I? Oh yeah, it's on the next page.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so Bobby Pike, who we've heard of before, sings a lot of BMX songs. Have you heard any of that stuff, Michael?
He was on a show a while ago with you guys, wasn't he?
Well, yeah,
Yes.
I think I did an interview with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's just released a few remixes of his BMX Anthem song. So I've provided a link in the description for the Spotify to listen to those.
Very interesting character.
I mean, they're not going to set the world on fire. He's not the next Madonna or something, but they're just fun songs to listen to if you're a BMXer.
Nice.
All right, that's it for me.
Sweet.
Michael, you got anything else?
That's it for me.
I don't. I'm all good.
No,
Just
no
all
other.
excited
Thank you
about what's
for having
about to happen.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
No worries.
I'm grateful I can come on here and talk with you guys.
That's
Always
great
happy
to have you on there. For sure. Definitely.
Sweet.
All right. See you guys and catch
See
up
you
with you
later.
soon.
See you, Michael. Stay safe, mate.
You too.